talent is not everything. You might be talented, the person sitting next to you is also talented. You need to put in the work. Mentors are very important. I'm just learning how important mentors are, because it took me a while to get to where I am because I didn't have like people to help me. There's room for all of us to actually make it in this space. There's so much room. You just need to grow your skills. My name is Sharon Wendo. I'm the CEO and founder of Epica Jewellery. So I've been doing it since around 2016. And so basically what I do is just I design and create African jewelry with a bit of a modern touch. Yeah, so to just like take you back to where I started. So I was doing this government project back in 2015. It was called Kenya Youth Empowerment Project. So it was just basically just helping guys in their 20s and 30s to getting some business skills, some life skills, and then you get an internship. So I hadn't gone to college. I don't have any college experience to say it. So they were doing it in two sectors. There was the formal sector and the informal sector. I was in the informal sector because I hadn't gone to college. So it was a one-year program, and then you choose the sector you want to be in. So my first choice was IT, and then my second choice was crafts, because we were supposed to get an internship after the program. So when they were placing people for internships, the IT section was filled. So they called me to the office, they asked, like, do you want to get your second choice of crafts? I was like, yeah, sure, I'm already here, I might as well just do it. So that's where I started like the internship for 3 months, where I was taught by this amazing lady beading. So when I started, I was doing like Maasai beads, Maasai belts, and also like necklaces. So my beading was pretty simple, and it was a hard one for me because I really didn't like it at the time. It was a lot of work. Maasai beading, it takes a lot. So I wasn't really sure this is something I wanted to do. So even after the internship, I was actively looking for something else to do because I just didn't feel like this is something I want to do long term. So, and eventually I got a job at a school. I was a receptionist. So, and the funny thing is, I feel like this was the turning point for me, because I just knew, no, this is not something I want to do with my life. I wasn't feeling the 8 to 5 life. It was super hard. The monotony of doing the same things every day, it was so hard. And even like when I was working there, I was just always on YouTube, like just checking out beading and all these things. That's the time where I saw like, oh my God, there's so much more to beading, which I didn't know. Like there's so much more I can do. And I'm that person I always loved fashion since like I was a kid, and that's not something I thought I could monetize or do career-wise. So when I was working there and I'm checking YouTube, I'm like, oh my God, all these things I can do. I already have like the basic beading skills. Like, why just not put in my creativity and try to do this? This can be like a viable thing for me to do. So I was at that place for 3 months, and after 3 months I was done. It wasn't something I wanted to do, so I resigned after 3 months. And when I resigned, I wasn't paid the last month I resigned. So when I was resigned, I was like super broke. I was starting from literally nowhere. Yeah, so I started with around 500, if I remember correctly, 500 or less. So I was buying like really small packets of beads, really, really small, like 30 bob, like a small packet of beads. Then I'm doing like necklaces, which was taking me like 2 days to do like one necklace. It was really simple, and I'm selling it around 300. Yeah, so I wasn't making money at that time, and people didn't know me. Yeah, so my page was super young, and my skills are not there. So when I was starting, my earlier work was really, it wasn't that great. I can admit that now because my skills have improved over time. But yeah, I can say I was broke. The struggle was real at that time, but I was so happy with what I was doing, and I was just seeing like the potential of what I was doing. So that is what kept me going during that time. Yeah, and I got to also meet other people along the way who actually helped me, like learning different types of beading and also just YouTube. So I've really been growing my skills over time to where I am right now. Yeah. So before I got into like the design business, this is not something I thought I would do, honestly. I was always thinking I was going to get into radio or media. So like fashion is not something I really thought I was going to do. I loved it, but not something I was going to do career-wise. So even I always like saying I fell in love with designing. It's something I fell in love with time. It's not something I really wanted to do initially, but I fell in love with it eventually. I will say this is my passion, definitely my passion, because the passion is what drove me to where I am today. Because without the passion, I would have given up a long time ago. Yeah, especially when I was starting out and I was not making any money, it was just passion and drive. So definitely this is my passion, and I know this is my purpose. And the thing is, eventually I want to pass on the skills to other people. I just don't want to like hold on to the skills that I already learned. I just want other people to actually learn what I'm doing, and if they can actually do something about it, that's the goal for me. I have met a couple of people who really helped me, especially the first lady who actually taught me doing the Masai belts. Her name is Juliana. She has been so helpful, especially when I want to do like to know some beading styles and she can get someone for me. She always just went way beyond to just make sure I get the skills. And also I met another lady who taught me another beading styles. And the other styles I've been learning just through YouTube and just my own creativity. I put my creativity in my design. So I've met people along the way, because people think beading is just like one style. There's so many other methods of beading, so many other methods, and I barely know like half of it. So yeah, so I've met people along the way who've really helped with my skills. So in my the early stages, right, when I was trying to figure out like beading, even just business in itself, I just didn't know. I didn't know how to do it by myself. So because I didn't even know anything about business, I was DMing everybody like, can I give you things so you can just wear them? I was literally DMing everybody because I just thought like I have nothing to lose. Like the worst thing someone can say is no. So I was just DMing everybody. And like it was during that time when I initially said I wanted to do radio, I had contacted Adele Onyango. She used to be a radio presenter at Radio Africa, and I told her like, this is what I'm doing right now. Can I send you a couple of pieces? You just wear them and like put it on your social media. And she agreed, and she did like a it was in 2017. She did a really nice post. I was doing fabric chokers at that time, really nice post, and that is where people started to know me because she has such a big platform. That was like, I feel like that was the beginning of my brand journey. Yeah, and it was still hard because I still didn't know anything about business. So I was selling these fabric chokers for 300, and then someone orders them. He's like, can you deliver them to town? I was not even charging delivery at that point. So I used to stay in Kayole. So someone is ordering like one choker. I'm going all the way to town for 300. I'm using fare for around 150. Now, by the time I go back home, I have no money, right? So it was pretty hard, like figuring out business. So and have no like business skills. I've not gone to school for business, so I'm just figuring these things out as I'm going. Yeah, and along the way, I also met another amazing guy who actually told me about like sales. He was like, "What are you doing? Like, how can you sell something at 300? You're going to town, not charging any delivery, and by the time you go back home, you have no money. Like, you need to figure out how much you spend on these things and charge everything. Like, that's how you do your costing." So it's teaching me about costing, teaching me about like keeping financial records, and this is how I'm starting to like know, yeah, there's so much more to this business than just like doing the design part. The design part is such a small part because you already know a bit about design, but you know nothing about business. And the thing is, when you're starting a business, when you're in this space, you're creative. You're not here to. When you start, you're not thinking about like the business side. You're just thinking about, yeah, I want to design stuff. I know how to do these things, but you're not thinking about the work you have to put in for business. And that has been a struggle for me for a very long time, because just balancing the two, it's so hard, and you need people to help you. You can't hire someone, but you just need people on your side who can actually just look at your business from a different angle and tell you like, you need to do this, you need to do this. So just even figuring out the business side, I'm still figuring it out. Yes, I'm way better than I was back in 2017, but figuring out and just balancing the design and the business has been quite a big challenge. And I know it's a challenge for a lot of creatives. So you need help with these things. You really need help. Honestly, I don't even like saying I have a favorite piece, because every design has a different story. I love especially when I design something and I make it like the whole thing comes to life. Like when I was thinking about it, it just comes to life. I feel like, yes, this is quite an accomplishment. So I feel like I love every piece, because every piece has a different story. I don't necessarily have a favorite piece. I love everything I've made. So back in 2018, Miss Universe approached me because they wanted to do a national costume for Wavaya. And I was so excited because I feel like this was such a great opportunity for me to make something amazing for her. And I wanted to make something that also reflects on how my brand is. And I'm so inspired by African cultures. We do a lot of bold colors, and I like bold colors. And I wanted to make something very bold and something that's more like a dress, because I like body jewelry. So I just wanted to just reflect all that in the piece I made. I want to make a dress, honestly. I just wanted to make a dress out of beads. I want to make something different than what people always think. When people think about beads, I wanted you to see something completely different. And that was sort of like the inspiration around it. And I was so happy when I saw how it turned out. Just for like watching it, that was such a proud moment for me. London Fashion Week has been like the biggest thing for my brand, honestly, and it's happening during like this bizarre time with COVID, with lockdown. Yeah, so this has been like the most amazing thing that happened. So I was doing this program with the British Council called Creative DNA. So it's just a business program for creatives, and British Council had a partner called Fashion Scout to just help creatives in the business space, and they were holding like London Fashion Week, right? So they were supposed to do a whole film for all the designers in the cohorts, and I just felt like, yes, it's a good opportunity, but I would really love to do one for myself. I feel like it will be better to just tell my brand stories by myself, and I actually just approached Fashion Scout and I asked them, can I just do my own film? I feel it will be so good for my brand. I get to control my own story. And they said yes. So just taking that initiative to ask them, and they actually said yes. That was amazing. And that's how I was part of London Fashion Week and got all these other features. I got featured in Vogue Italia and also Harper's Bazaar Italia. So that was really amazing. So, when I'm growing with my brand and my business, I'm realizing there's so much potential and so much market out there. So my aim is to cater to like the international market. So I wanted to do very contemporary pieces, but not losing like the brand value, which is just like getting that African feel with my pieces. So my brand value is just getting bold stuff out there, celebrating African culture in a very modern way. So when COVID happened, I feel like we were all caught unexpected. Yeah, so when COVID, I was already in the digital space, but when COVID happened, you needed to like move fast, think really quick with your business, and just move quickly digitally. So COVID has really changed a lot of things because everybody is going digital and need to figure out the digital space real quick. And that's when I do my own social media, and social media is a hard job. Like, you need to figure so much about social media, and I needed to, especially last year when after lockdown, I just needed to take a step back and figure out like, what am I doing for my business? Is this working? So I needed to change a lot of things about my business digitally. So yeah, even with London Fashion Week, we couldn't go there physically, unfortunately, but we did our own film, which was, I felt like it was so much better for me because I got to control my own story, show my brand the way I wanted to show my brand. So it was really amazing. The biggest challenge is just figuring out your market. Because it takes a lot of time and a lot of research to figure out your market, and I needed to like delve into that. Yeah, because when I figured out my market, then I figured out like these are the stuff I can buy, and these are the stuff I can make. This is what my customers resonate to. So but the biggest challenge is figure out my market, my customers, where they are, what they like, and also just figuring out social media. Social media is a lot of work and you need to be there all the time. So just figuring out social media, what works for your brand, doing ads the right way. Yeah, and also just sourcing for materials. I source my materials locally, everything. So sourcing for like quality materials, and also training, because I have one other person with me. So training somebody else to actually do the work and actually come up with quality stuff. Social media has played a major role with my business because I don't have a physical store, so I'm just selling online and people get me online. That's how I'm selling. People just find me on Instagram or Facebook. And right now I have a website where people can actually buy from the website. Social media has been a game changer for like every creative, because there's no limit. You reach anybody anywhere in the world. So I get to the point where I can actually tap the international market and I actually ship. Yeah, social media has been everything for me. With the international market, I'm still trying to figure that out, honestly. I still don't know my target really on the international market, but I am selling internationally. I've been selling for around 2 years now internationally. So people get me from Instagram and I just ship stuff for them. So I know there's so much potential for my products to be shipped there. I know that. It's just like figuring out that market for me. My advice for other young people who want to get in this space, the creative space, I will tell them is you need to grow your skills, like always grow your skills. And another thing, talent is not everything. You might be talented, the person sitting next to you is also talented. You need to put in the work. You need to be ready to make a lot of sacrifices to achieve your goals. You need to be extremely consistent, so consistent. That's how you're going to actually get to where you need to be. You need to be consistent and very hardworking. There's room for all of us to actually make it in this space. There's so much room. You just need to grow your skills and ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Ask for help, because we are all willing to help other people. You just ask for it and we're willing to help. A couple of celebrities have actually won my pieces. People like Yvonne Okwara, Yemi Alade, Evelyn Onjiro, Joy Somondi, Yvonne Jack, Anita Nderu. There's also, I've also had a couple of influencers like Joy Candy who've won my pieces. So I've had a number of celebrities just be adorned with my pieces. My plan, which is coming up in the next couple of months, is to train other young girls, to just give them the skills. I feel like it's always important to empower people behind you. Yeah, to give them the skills and to see if they can actually do something with it. So I want to really train other young women to do bidding. For me, I feel like what actually made me want to start this business is actually getting the 8 to 5 job. That was an eye opener for me, because I knew this is not something I wanted to do. And it was during like my early 20s where I was trying to figure things out for myself as well. So I just needed to like get my stuff together. And I know, like, yes, I have a salary, it's very comfortable, but it just wasn't enough for me, and I was not happy. So that was a turning point for me. I just knew this is not something I want, and I need to do better for myself. Success is very relative. It's very relative. For me, even from the beginning, when someone just like buys my stuff and wears it, that was success for me. So I've had a lot of successes. Success doesn't have to be financially. I'm happy I'm where I am right now because I'm able to live off my business. But every single time someone buys my designs, loves them, and actually comes up and tells me like, I loved what you made for me, that is success for me. Mentors are very important. I'm just learning how important mentors are, because it took me a while to get to where I am, because I didn't have like people to help me along the way, the way I needed to, especially at the beginning of like starting this business. And I've met a number of mentors along the way, especially during like last year and early this year. And you need mentors to just help you with your journey, because you need people who have already been through it, so that you just don't make the same mistakes. You need to skip those steps. That's why you need mentors. My brand is centered around women, strong women, beauty. So most of my pieces are just named around that. I have like the Jamila piece, which means just beauty. That's the biggest piece I've ever made. Yeah, so I love that piece, honestly. I really love it. It takes a lot of work. It takes around a week to make it, because it's tedious work. And also there's another one, it's called Jakite. Jakite is a Luo word which means bold. Because it's the bold colors, the piece is bold. And I also want my jewelry to be conversation starters. Like, you don't need to say anything, you'll just walk in the room and that will be the first thing somebody asks you. Like, that's the point of my pieces. So I have a long range of pieces. I also have capes. They have a pepper cape and nyota cape. Those are like beaded ones with strings on the side or strings on the front. So those were my early pieces, and I've been trying to sort of like upgrade on the skills and all that. I wish someone told me the first thing when I'm starting a business is to just figure out your market. That is so important. Like, that is one of the most important things you need to figure out before you start just selling. Because I used to have like a whole range of 20 products, and only one product is being sold. So I'm wasting so much time making stuff that's not going, because I didn't understand my market. I just didn't know who my customer was. So I wish someone actually told me, like, you need to figure out your customer. You need to keep financial records. That's so important. You need to track your finances. So I wish those are things someone told me when I was starting. I would have gone way further earlier. I keep saying you need to be extremely consistent with your work, so consistent, because when you're consistent, people will be so loyal to your brand. That's how my brand has worked, because I have such loyal clients who always come back. You need to be completely consistent and continue to innovate. You have to bring out new stuff. You can't bring them out like every day, but once in a while you have to actually make new stuff. That's how you remain relevant. And just make sure everybody that passes through your business has a great experience. Yes, you can get me on social media. My brand name is Epica Jewellery on Facebook and on Instagram, on my website www.epicajewellery.com.